Hey guys, long time no see. I know it's been almost a month since I last uploaded a video, and that's because this whole situation right now with the whole coronavirus and all that really got into me, and it's been stressing me out, giving me too much anxiety to where I just wanted to take a break from social media, even though I post on social media, but YouTube and all that. But today I'm feeling a little bit less stressed because things are starting to get into place. And so for today's video, I'm going to be doing my long-awaited eyeshadow palette collection. So before I start, I just want to I hope that you guys are doing social distancing, staying in your homes and not going out when you're not supposed to, and washing your hands at all times. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I have all of my eyeshadow palettes on my bed right now, and I'm not gonna go in any specific order by brand or which was the oldest, newest. I'm just gonna grab one and keep going. So the first palette I grabbed is the Morphe 25L Live in Color palette. It's just a rainbow palette. This is how it looks like. I love this palette. I mainly wanted it because of the mint green colors, the Tiffany blues and all that, and it has a very pure red shade right here, and it comes with a mirror too. So if you're someone who likes to travel but does only colorful makeup looks, then this is the palette to go for. And it's not even that pricey. I think it was only maybe $21 if I'm not wrong. And this is one of the palettes that I did use to create this look. Okay, the next palette is the Morphe X Jeffree Star palette, and this is how it looks. I love this palette. I usually go to this palette when I'm wanting to do more an orangey look or a hot pink kind of look. This is the palette I usually go for. Sometimes I do maybe some greens, golds. Sometimes if I need a black, I'll go for this palette too sometimes. But mainly I go for the palette for the pinks and the oranges, and mainly the shimmers, because look at that, how pretty. Okay, next I have the original Morphe X Jaclyn Hill palette. This is how it looks like. It's more of a neutral everyday palette. This is the palette I go for when I'm wanting to do a smoky eye or just a brown natural eyeshadow look. As you can tell, these are my favorite shades. I already hit pan on this shade, and I love the shimmers. I don't really go for the colorful shades. I usually just go for the browns and the blacks and the shimmers. And then in the back it has all the shade names here. Alright, next I have the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette that came out about a month or two ago, and this is how it looks. It's just like the other Jaclyn Hill palette, but this one's just more pinks and purples and reds. I love this palette, especially the oranges, these two shades. I love it. That was the only reason why I wanted this palette, was for those two shades. And that's why I got it, was just for those. I haven't really got to play with it much, but since we're under quarantine now, I'm gonna hopefully get a chance to play with it soon. Alright, next I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Riviera palette. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this is how it looks. I got it for my 19th birthday, yeah. And I haven't really used it, but I usually use this for the shimmers, and it does have the brush and all that. But yeah, this is more for a spring and summer. This if it was summertime, I'll probably grab this palette. Alright, next I have all four of the Jaclyn Hill Vault palettes, so I'm gonna go one by one. This one is Bling Boss. Has purples and mauve tones. I love the shimmers in this palette, especially this one, which is in the shade Glitz and Glam. Love it. This one is in Dark Magic. It's more like very like smoky and like greens, dark browns, blues. And it has like a silver shade, has like a nice little neutral nude shade going on. Next I have Ring the Alarm, which this how it looks. It's more like an everyday like natural palette. I don't usually go for this one. Like usually when I do, I go for this one. Like whenever I need like a transition shade, I'll go for like either this one, and like if I need like a shimmer shade, I go for that one. But it's pretty, I like it. This one though, this one is my favorite out of all four. It's the Armed and Gorgeous palette. As you can tell, it's like really loved. I just love like the oranges and the shimmers. I love this shade, VIP. It's like a pure white shade. That's what I used on my lids today. And this is the palette I use, like especially like in the fall time. This is the only palette I used. Alright, next I have the BH Cosmetics Daisy Marquez palette. I love this palette, and I love how when you open it, it looks like a little vanity. How cute. Like that's just so Daisy. Like she would definitely do that. But here are the shades. I love the shimmers in this palette, especially Icy and Lucid, which is like that lavender shimmer shade. I really love this palette so much, and I love how it makes it look like a vanity and it comes like a mirror. Next I have the Morphe X Manny MUA Glam palette. This is how it looks like. I think this is the perfect like everyday palette, especially when you're traveling and you don't want to do anything colorful. This is the palette because not only does it have like eyeshadow shades, transition shades, but it also comes with 2 highlight shades, which are so blinding. I love these highlight shades so much. I love this shade Fire, which is like a corally orange kind of color, and I love the shimmers, and the transition shades are so pretty and they're so pigmented. I love this palette. All right, next is the Ace Beauty Scarlet Dust palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm, and this is what it looks like. It's really pretty. I love like how bright and pink the palette is. I haven't really gotten a chance to play with it. I've only used this shade Pink Moon, which is like a watermelon pink color. On the camera it looks more like a hot pink, but like in person it's more like a settled kind of hot pink. I love like the oranges and the shimmers. It's a really good palette. Next I have the Morphe 350M palette. I don't go for this palette. This is not a palette I would go for, but I used to use this palette all the time when I was a senior in high school. The only reason why I don't go for this is because the lid comes off. But you can tell it's been loved and all that. But really the only reason why I don't go for this palette is because my ex-boyfriend bought it for me and he's irrelevant, and I don't want anything that he got me. So I was planning on throwing it away, but I keep forgetting to. Alright, next I have the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye palette. This is what it looks like. It's just like a lot of shimmers. I really love these 2 shades. As you can tell, I used to use those 2 shades for my inner corners until I discovered the Daisy Marquez palette and the Armed and Gorgeous palette from Jaclyn Hill. Alright, next I have the Morphe X James Charles palette. And sorry for the noise, my cousin and my mom, they're playing this soccer game. So I'm trying my best to be loud, but I don't know. But anyways, this is the Morphe X James Charles palette. I could write a whole book about how much I love this palette. This is the perfect palette, especially for those who are wanting to start makeup but don't know like what to get. I highly recommend getting this palette because when you open it, yes, mine is really beat up and is extremely loved, but not only does it have like a bunch of transition shades and neutral shades, but it also has a lot of colorful shades. And as you can tell, I did mainly use this palette for this eyeshadow look. And as you can tell, I hit pan on the yellow shade. I love this yellow shade so much. It's like the perfect yellow. It's like bright, pigmented. love it. Okay, next, this is the Morphe 39L Hit the Lights palette. I love this palette. It has a bunch of shimmers and neon colors. I love the neon colors, especially the blue and the pink one. I think this is like whenever I'm doing like a hot pink look or like a blue look, this is the palette I go for transition shades. But it has like a bright red, it has like highlight shade shimmers. This is a gorgeous palette. I highly recommend getting this one. And the packaging is so pretty too. Alright, next I have the Morphe 39S palette. This is what it looks like. It's just a lot of purples and pinks. I wanted this palette because I love like doing pink eyeshadow looks. And the only thing I don't like about this palette is that some of these like shimmer shades are more like a jelly kind of texture. And I don't really like that because it's not like that pigmented. It's not that pigmented. I don't even think I still pronounced that right. But anyways, it has a lot of purples, pinks. It has like some pressed glitters, shimmers. It's a good palette. I usually go for this palette during like the spring, summertime. I haven't used it yet. I mean, I have used it. I haven't used it in a minute. Alright, next I have the Anastasia Norvina palette. This is what it looks like. It's just a lot of purples, pinks, and like burnt oranges. I was obsessed with this palette. Like, I begged my mom to give me this palette, and she did. I do still use this palette a lot, especially for like the transition shades. I was obsessed with this palette. I was obsessed with this shade Eccentric. It's like the perfect burnt orange shade. I used to use it all the time, especially during the fall time. Highly recommend this palette though. Alright, next I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. This is what it looks like. I only used it once. Honestly, I don't really like this palette. It has beautiful shades, but it's really hard to like blend, especially like the darker colors. They're really hard to blend, and it's really patchy. It's not, honestly, no. Alright, next is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy palette. I love this palette so much. First off, can we talk about the packaging? Like, it's just so sparkly and pink. And then when you open it, like, can we just talk about the shades for a minute, please? I love the shimmers, especially these two shades, the hot pink and like this iridescent pink shade. I love the transition shades. I love this blue shade. I love this palette. It is so worth the hype. And honestly, like, if you want to get an eyeshadow palette from Anastasia, I highly recommend this one or the Norvina or the Soft Glam and the Modern Renaissance. Highly recommend all of those four. But this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. As you can tell, this palette is extremely loved. This is the perfect fall palette, everyday palette. I took this palette with me when I went to Mexico 2 years ago, and it's just a perfect everyday palette. It has your transition shades, has your inner corner shades. If you want to add like some red, black, or pink, it has it. Love this palette so much. And then this one is the Modern Renaissance palette from Anastasia. And as you can tell, this palette was loved as well. I hit pan on 3 shades. I don't go for this palette. I remember when I got it, I was so excited. I literally cried when I got it. My brother got it for me for Christmas like 3 years ago. And it's really pretty. I love the mauve colors. I love the pinks, the reds, the shimmer shades, and all that. But I tried using it not that long ago, and it was really hard to blend. I don't know if it's because it's old or what, but I don't remember having that problem. But I mean, I just keep it for like sentimental reasons, because this is like the first Anastasia palette I ever had, so I just keep it for that. Alright, next, this is the Illuminate by Ashley Tisdale from BH Cosmetics. I got this palette when I was a junior in high school, and I'm almost a junior in college, so you can tell it's been a long time. I got this when I started wanting to get into makeup, and I mainly wanted this palette because it's Ashley Tisdale. I love Ashley Tisdale. I love High School Musical, so I got this because it was Ashley Tisdale. And as you can tell, it was extremely loved. I love the contour shade in this. It wasn't my shade, but I still used it because I love this palette. It has a lot of shimmer shades, a transition shade, has a blush and like a highlight, but it's really dark. But I love this palette so much. Alright, and then I just had like this Clinique palette, 4 shades. Anyways, next I have the Laura Lee Party Animal palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm, I feel like a year ago, and this is what it looks like. I was so excited when I got this because I love Laura Lee. The only thing I don't like is that all of these shades have shimmers, so it's like more harder to blend. It was really hard to blend because of the shimmers, but not only that, it was like kind of hurting my eyes. Like it felt like really rough on my eyes. I felt like I was just like dragging bricks on my eyes. But it's a pretty palette. I like this palette a lot. I won't go for it, but I just keep it because I support Laura Lee and I love her, so I just keep it for that reason. Next I have the Morphe 35i Icy Fantasy palette. This is my newest palette that I got it like 2 weeks ago, and this is how it looks like. It's just a lot of pastels. I really want to start doing like pastel looks for like the springtime. I already used this palette once, and it's very hard to blend and to like put the color onto your eyes and make it like pop. So if you do have this palette or you want this palette, I do recommend using either concealer or like an eyeshadow base or like the P. Louise base so it can pop more. But I love this palette. Like it's just so I just love the pastels. I love pastel colors. Alright, next I have this Sephora palette. This is what it looks like, just very neutral shades. I don't really go for that at all. Alright, next I have the Morphe 3503 Fierce by Nature palette. I love this palette. I love the greens and like these bright pinks. I really love this palette. Recommend this palette as well. Alright, next this is Midnight Vibes from Ulta. I got this for free when I ordered something from Ulta. They gave it for me for free. I guess it's like if you order like $50 or more on your purchase, you get a free palette. But this is how it looks like. I haven't used it yet because I literally just got it like a week ago. But this is how it looks like. I don't know if it's something I would go for. I do like this army green shade and like this pink shimmer shade. But other than that, I don't think I would go for this palette. I'm planning on giving this one away though. Alright, next this is the Huda Beauty Neon palette. It's the neon green palette. And this is what it looks like. I love this palette for like neon. I mainly got neon green because green is one of my favorite colors. And I did like an 80s inspired look about a year ago using this palette, and I was obsessed. I love this palette for. Alright, so next this is the Naked 3 by Urban Decay. I hate this palette. It's busted. Most of the shades do fall out, so I'm trying to like not let it fall. But this is how it looks like. I don't use this, but I keep this because this is the first ever eyeshadow palette that I got when I started wearing makeup. So this holds a lot of sentimental memories and all that. So I keep this because if it wasn't for this palette, like none of this would have had started. Alright, next this is a palette from Lancome. My sister-in-law got this for me. And this is how it looks like. I love this blue shade, as you can tell. I want to start using this more because I really love this pink shade right here. And like the gold is like a yellowish gold. I want to start playing with this. I love shimmers, as you can tell. Alright, next this is a hard candy palette. It's a bunch of pressed glitters. I use this whenever I'm doing a look that involves using pressed glitters. I mainly use it during like the holidays and all that. But I do like this palette. Alright, next I have this Tartelette Fleur from Tarte palette. This is what it looks like. It's just very like small, you know, everyday. And like I love these Tarte palettes and like Too Faced because they smell like chocolate. Like how cute. But I do love this palette. I love like the shimmer shades in this, and it has like some transition shades. I do like this palette. Alright, next I have the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice palette. Just what it looks like. I was obsessed with this palette, especially this shade called Spice is Nice. I used to use it every day, just pack it on my lid and blend it. and it was just so pretty, and like it looked good with my skin tone, my eye color. I love it. I honestly still love this palette. I'm definitely gonna have to use it again. Next I have the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. This is what it looks like. It's just I hate this palette. It doesn't blend. I don't like this palette like at all. Honestly, I don't recommend this palette. I know there's way better palettes out there than whatever this is. I have this palette. It's called Romance. It's from a brand called Ismay, New York. I got this for Christmas like 3 years ago, and this one looks like, it literally looks just like the Naked 3 palette. So I don't use this at all because I already have a palette that's just like this. I am planning on giving this away too. Alright, next, this is a Tarte palette. What it looks like, it's just a bunch of neutral colors. I got this on Christmas last year. I really just love this pink color. It's just like a very like sweet little bright light pink color. I don't know. Okay, next, this is the Fairy Tale Storybook Cosmetics palette. This is so cute. Like, it looks like a book. That is adorable. And when you open it, it's a palette. How cute. I love this palette. I love like the transition shades and this green shade. I love these 2 green shades right here. I just love green. Like, alright, next, this is a brand called BR Cosmetics. This is a 56 colors eyeshadow palette. My cousin got me this like a few years ago, and I was obsessed with this palette, especially like right here in these like shades. This is the palette that really got me into like colors and like doing like eyeshadow looks, especially like darker eyeshadow looks. So I do keep this for like sentimental reasons as well. Alright, and lastly, this is a Sephora palette, and it's like pretty beat up and loved and all that. I don't really like this palette, and I don't care for it because I have many other palettes that are like better. But yeah, that is my eyeshadow palette collection. I hope you guys enjoy. Give this video a thumbs up, comment down below request and all that, and don't forget to subscribe, and hopefully I upload a video next week. So yeah, bye.